Hi, people, and thanks, Luca from Aperitivo Financiero, for the invitation. Thanks, Binance Live, for the space. I'm very proud to be the host today again. We are going to have a very interesting AMA chat today, and in this Binance Live, we will be talking with Prakash, CEO of EnjinStarter, and Matías Calzada, co-founder of Xave. Prakash is a Singaporean serial entrepreneur. Since 2016, has been active on blockchain and crypto in project development, acceleration, and investment into the blockchain industry. Currently, he is the CEO and co-founder of EnjinStarter, a launchpad focused on blockchain gaming and metaverse. In this talk, we will know more about his background, the current status of EnjinStarter and his partnership with Xave, and the approach of sustainable initiatives in the technological environment. So let us start now. The first question for Prakash is, who is Prakash?
Hi guys, thanks for the opportunity. My name is Prakash. Sri Lankan by descent, but born and bred here in Singapore. Never lived outside Singapore anything more than 4 weeks. I'm the CEO and co-founder of EnjinStarter. We're a launchpad that's focused on blockchain gaming, entertainment, and the metaverse. And growingly, we're looking a lot into the area of impact and sustainability, and that's primarily one of the key focus that we have at this point of time. We started the company in April 2021. We did our own token sale in October 2021. We raised a total of 5.5 through our token sale, and we very quickly started participating in startups. We've since invested in 70 companies and helped more than 50 of them to use our platform to actually raise capital. So we're very excited about the Web3 space, bull or bear. We're constantly pushing. At this point in time, we are very busy setting up a base in Dubai. We're growing a team there, and we're definitely looking to grow our ecosystem there. Very excited to be here with you and to speak to you and the community, and look forward to an engaging session across.
Well, first of all, thanks everyone for being here. Thanks, Prakash, for accepting the invitation, and thanks, Johnny and Luca, for the space once again. And I have another question for you, Prakash. You kind of answered that in this first introduction, but I want to know more about, in terms of the timeline, what EnjinStarter does, what it did, how it started, and what the core business is now, and how that evolved within the company. So assuming that this is an ever-changing environment, an ever-changing landscape. We know that.
That's right.
So the questions was going to be, what's the business core of EnjinStarter? I want to enlarge that question of what was the original core of the business within EnjinStarter, and what's the actual core at this moment?
Awesome. Yeah. So at the core of the business, we are a launchpad. So in a nutshell, we're really a crowdfunding platform. The business model is we identify projects that we're interested in participating in. We invest anything from 25K to 100K. Once we've done that investment, we kind of support those projects with additional fundraising. We help them build a community, help them with the PR. In some cases, we also review their tokenomics. So we look at the project as our own project. We figure out what are the key things that we need to do to ensure that the project becomes a success. We rally all the resources that we have internally, as well as the partnerships and stakeholders that we have. We support the project, and once the project is ready, we put them on our platform. We either help them raise additional capital, through the sale of tokens or through the sale of NFTs, and that's primarily what we do as the core of the business. But you're right, constantly, things are evolving. We will always need to look at what is it that we can do additionally for some of these startup founders that we're working with. And the way that we see it is our role is that we're ecosystem builders. We actually help them build bridges to as many communities as possible, to as many platforms as possible. We don't compete with anybody. We collaborate with as many people as we can, and we look to grow the ecosystem together. And that, I would say, is primarily what we do today.
Matías asked a very interesting question that so that you are talking about this topic, Prakash. I want to ask you that what is the vision of the company, the mission of the company, yes, and what is the present and future plans for Engine?
Sure. So I guess the very reason we started the company is so that we would be able to kind of participate early stage with as many startups as we can, and through that, kind of ride that journey that every startup founder is going to go through, from starting from zero to becoming a hero, and constantly adding value back to their ecosystem. So that's primarily what is our big focus on. We started out during a bull market, and it was a period where gaming, especially play to earn, was a very hot topic. We were fortunate to be starting here in Singapore, where the whole play to earn industry was started from the Southeast Asia. There were a lot of Vietnamese games that were coming aboard, and Philippines primarily was supplying a whole lot of players. And during that period, we were really excited that gaming was actually providing a whole lot of unbanked people in developing markets an opportunity to actually earn a secondary income on top of having fun while playing games, right? So we still believe that that narrative plays a key role in especially in emerging markets where people want to convert some of the additional time that they have into earning extra income, and we'll constantly look for projects like that to invest and to accelerate. So that's one key area of focus. And of course, at this point of time, we also believe that Web3 has the ability to solve real world problems. And one of the key things that we are really excited about is climate action, right? I mean, we all know that global warming and a whole lot of bad things are actually happening around the world. We all talk about the weather in every conversation that we're in, whichever part of the world that we are in, and we all know it's kind of messed up. But instead of just accepting that, we are here to say that, look, we can now bring the communities together. We all can participate in this ecosystem, whether it's through offsetting our carbon footprint or kind of helping support with some of these sustainability projects. And that's one big area of focus for us at this point in time.
Right. Well, that kicks off a lot of things that we plan to talk. We will arrive to that because that's the direct link to the immediate connection we have with Engine, because Xave World's Metaverse has the same aim in the current project of opening the Xave Forest that is behind me. So, but first of all, we will get to that. But you talked about the narrative and how you follow up different projects. So the idea is to ask you what's the work process in planning the marketing behind and the narrative behind the project, and at the same time, what technological tools you use to push that forward in an efficient and effective ways in terms of the strategy, both the technology behind EnjinStarter that allows that, but the marketing and the narrative follow-up that you provide to projects that not necessarily have the proper marketing and narrative to be effective. So what kind of solution from the marketing and the technological side Engine could and can provide and usually provides to projects?
Sure. So it usually starts with us getting into a conversation with the founders of the project, and this is where we need to be aligned with the values of the founders. We need to understand the reason why they're actually building this business. What are the aspirations that they have for the project, and once we're aligned from a values aspect, it becomes a lot easier for us to kind of invest in them and also be a part of that journey on a long-term basis. So that's one key criteria. Beyond that, actually, what we really do is we use a lot of data. We have a data analytics tool that is measuring sentiment. We are actually measuring or looking at a whole lot of activities on the wallets of our community. We're understanding what is the different interests that they have. And this is one insight that we're constantly giving to the founders that they're working with. Usually one team probably goes to one IDO or one NFT sale in their entire lifetime. But we are constantly doing IDOs. In the bull market, we've done as many as 20 IDOs in a month. At this point in time, we're doing maybe about 2 to 3 every month. So every process, we are learning, we are understanding what the sentiment is. We're helping founders with the narrative. And one key thing that we always help founders with is to make sure that the narrative that they're building is something applicable to the community. Because constantly we work with founders who are very focused on one aspect of their platform or their project, but they fail to communicate well to the community. So though they may have all the best ideas, they may have the best intention, but they fail to actually engage with the community. So we're constantly helping projects to build strategies, putting the community at the core and kind of building everything out. And all along the way, we're testing. All along the way, we're measuring the results and kind of fine tuning that. So yeah, there are a whole lot of tools that we use from an analytics perspective. But I would say at the end of the day, it's our ability to listen to the community. Every voice matters. If there is even one negative sentiment, we'll try to find ways to kind of work with them and get them to become a believer in the project. And once we do that, they always bring more people with them. So that's something that's very, very important to us from a team perspective.
Prakash, I know that, into EnjinStarter, you're working with gaming and metaverse industry, yes? But in 2021, 2022, we know that the ecosystem, in the world, we are talking about metaverse. This year, we are talking about ChatGPT. We are talking about, for example, IA. And now I have a question of that because the community wants to know, how do you make sure that you stay up to date with the latest trends and changes in the market?
Sure. So it really, all this comes through a network of scouts as well as VCs that we work with very, very closely. Technology constantly evolves. There will always be new trends that are coming into vogue. And for us, we are kind of making sure that we are connected to the right scouts. They're giving us feedback in terms of what's happening in different parts of the world. And this community that we have is international. It's guys in the Silicon Valley, guys in Southeast Asia, guys in Dubai. And we're constantly exchanging notes, right? For us, information is the most important thing in our business. We call it alpha, right? The earlier that we get into some of these projects, the better that we get from a valuation perspective. So we're constantly exchanging notes. And our approach really is that we choose to give support, we choose to give insights, we choose to give information, and we always receive a lot more information on the back. And that's the way that we've been operating. We tend to be very collaborative. We tend to support each other, and this always comes back to us. But I would say, to answer your question, most of this leads actually comes in from our friends who are crypto VCs who work with a whole lot of these projects from a very, very early stage, and they get insights and they start sharing that with us. And that's primarily how we've been getting a whole lot of leads in this space. And of course, there are certain mega trends that will happen. I think AI is going to be one of those mega trends that is going to be here for quite some time. I don't think it's going to be just a fad, but I think it's here to change the way that we live, work, and play. And that's currently what we're looking at. We look for projects that are leveraging AI for the content creation, for them to actually use AI to deliver a better experience. And if we notice that projects are able to kind of identify and embrace some of these upcoming technologies and apply it into their business, we're pretty confident these are the kind of founders that we want to work with. And these are the guys that we want to invest and work with on a long-term basis.
Right. Well, I have a question. I'll connect this answer to something that you just answered before about projects that just are focused on one thing and they don't have the right narrative to it. And relating to that, to an ever-changing landscape in this business, that's usual. And I will add to what Jonathan said before. Before that was virtual reality. And then it faded to what the Web3, blockchain, crypto, and then the usability of crypto within metaverses and the technologies that came around. And now we are metaverse slash artificial intelligence. That's the main trend and how they can coexist and work together. So given that you might encounter projects that are focused and aimed towards something that is right and now. I tend to think, well, what's the perspective towards the future if you're focused on just one thing and ever changing landscape? So what's your communication and follow-up policy during the working with the project and after a marketing campaign being done and after the work is done to keep going with the project and in a way guide them to, okay, what's next? What's your business lines growth going to? And from your side, you're not going to advise or be in control of what a project aims to do in the future. But from your perspective during a marketing campaign, what's your perspective towards the present and the future communication and ongoing work with them?
Sure. So, running a token sale or an NFT sale is one of the most intense things that can happen, right? A lot of things happen very quickly in a very short and condensed time. And it's pretty intensive, right? It's like playing in the World Cup, right? You can't make a mistake every day. It's going to be something. And you need to constantly be riding that hype. You need to be ensuring that you constantly show up, do a whole lot of these AMAs and conversations and continuously deliver value. So during that period, our role really is like we are guides or like a coach to the founding team. We lean on our experience. We help them connect with the right communities. We help them ensure that, they kind of ensuring that the project gets the right amount of hype so that the project is a success. They raise the capital that they need to actually go out and implement the project. And beyond that, we always constantly encourage them to continuously be communicating with the community. A lot of projects we've seen, after they raise money, they go into the cave and they start building. I mean, they are doing the right thing, but it's also important that they continuously engage with the community, share updates, invite the community to come and participate. And I think that's the beauty about Web3. Everything that we're doing is being co-created with the community. As founders or as the project team, our responsibility is to constantly listen to the community, get their feedback, get them to become a part of this journey, and then we can progressively start rolling out. And what we always tell our project teams is to make sure that you are constantly rolling out new features, you're constantly sharing some of the work that you're doing, because in Web3, you don't need to wait till the product is perfect. You can release it, you can get feedback from the community and start building on that. So yeah, coming back to the question again, really the answer really is to constantly be communicating with the community, sharing some highlights, and even when the project goes and has some problems, if you can share that with the community feels like they're part of you and they will grow with you. And that's one key thing that we always share the projects that we work with.
Prakash, Matías, I know that both of companies are working on sustainability programs. Yes, I see there, Matías, behind you the Xave Forest environment.
The
So,
forest itself, indeed.
okay. So I want to talk about the sustainability initiative that is being promoted into EnjinStarter and Xave World.
So the way we see it, we're really excited about Xave as a project because it's a metaverse that actually has real world applications, right? And this is where we feel the metaverse is going to play a big part. It's going to augment the real world, but it also needs to have real world utility. And I think that's kind of what got us really excited about the Xave metaverse project. The fact that when someone buys land in the metaverse, it's going to be able to offset with carbon credits, as well as the project kind of works with their networks to actually plant trees in the real world. And I think that's extremely exciting because this is where we are bringing the best in Web3 to actually solve real world problems, right? And that's what people are asking for at this point of time. We're living in a time in a post-pandemic world, yet there's still so much uncertainty in the world. There's wars. There is uncertainty about the climate, and this is where I feel this project comes together to kind of solve that real world. And this is where a whole lot of people can actually come in, participate, build together, learn together, and also take action together. And I think that's kind of where the biggest excitement is for us. For us as a launchpad, all we're looking to do is to promote the project to our community, to get them to understand what is that big value that Xave Metaverse is kind of building, to get our community to come in, to participate, as well as to grow with you guys, right? At this point of time, the key would be to get awareness for the project, to get interest for the project. But ongoingly, we're still going to be part of that development process with you. We're going to be introducing you to brands that are interested in sustainability. There's going to be a whole lot of partnerships that we can make some introductions. And this is where, we use the Web3 technology to make the world that we live in become a lot closer. While you guys are in Latin America and in Europe, we are connected now with you here in Asia, here in Dubai, through the metaverse. And this is where we're going to be amplifying all the work that we're going to be doing together. Matthias, over to you.
Yeah, well, absolutely. We knew from the beginning, with the conversations with Engine, and Prakash also already mentioned that before in this live, their commitment to sustainability and the environmental issues as a launchpad, from the launchpad perspective. We as a metaverse, we started off as and we are a metaverse based on music and entertainment, but our underlying vision was to help upcoming artists. So upcoming artists that didn't have the certain possibilities in the real world, they will have the possibilities within the metaverse and then translate those possibilities into the real world. So the vision was in that line. always interconnecting the metaverse, the digital world, with the real world, because this is not a replacement. It's a new way of having presence and live your life through internet, but the real world will keep being there. And if we don't take care of social, environmental issues within our real world, we won't be able, we won't be here to enjoy what Web3 and all these new technologies have to offer from the entertainment side and from the actual usability to help the world in many cases. And we connected with Engine not only because we aim towards the same in this current project that we're launching of the forest, with the creation of a forest of 2,000 trees that with selling of them will relate to the plantation of real lives and real world, and the removal of CO2 and the removal of the carbon footprint, and helping it that way. But as a kickoff of the doors that any metaverse, even a metaverse like ours that is based on music and entertainment, actually can open doors that are not necessarily directly related to that, but as a way of promoting and educating how blockchain technology and the Web3 as a whole can help and become a conduct, a cable to help and connect to the real world, not missing the central project and the central vision that Xave World has. We created a forest, as you can see behind me, with the stage in its center, with the idea of creating events related to environmental issues. So we keep connecting what we aim to, that is a metaverse of music and entertainment, to other things. And the forest is the kickoff. And Engine understood that. We talked about before projects that just came with one idea, push that idea, but towards the future, it's not clear. We don't. The only thing that we don't have clear is what we are going to try to help the real world with. But when we talk about the connection of the metaverse and the possibilities that the metaverse gives to help the world, they bring, not only it picks up a lot of interest, because it picks up the interest of people that is not necessarily related to these technologies or are new or trying to investigate what this is all about. But when you connect with the real world, is okay, this is new. I want to know more about this, because eventually could be a tool that will help me or will help the environment or will help social issues. So the idea is to think, okay, what's next? And also, usually what we'll have in return and the feedback we have is, what about the oceans? Because they see the map of the metaverse and it's surrounded by water. What now approaching something related to help the cleaning of the oceans, or social issues, because we are already into helping artists to be able to promote their art and live and make a living out of their art, and not try to quit their careers. But we can aim towards other urgent issues, clean water, for example. There is nothing that you cannot do, that you cannot complement without a virtual world as we are creating. And then use music and entertainment as the baseline of inviting the community to enjoy an experience with it on metaverse, and then explore all the doors that we provide to them and how to help the world. So the forest, it's the first one and the main example of what our vision is and what we aim towards the future. And we know that Engine is on that path, being a launchpad, not being a metaverse, but aiming towards gaming and metaverses. That's the vision that we share. So sharing that vision, that's a communion for what we are doing right now. And that's a commitment and a natural commitment of keep working in the future. We'll see on what, but to be sure that we will continue to work with Engine. I know you have a lot of projects in mind, Prakash. So I came from being a host to now being talking about Xave. I'll come back to being a host again.
Awesome.
What are
Mati, so I have another one to ask for Prakash.
okay? Go.
That he sent to us from AP Financiero. That well, like Prakash, a lot of people that are seeing this live are entrepreneurs. Yes, so some of them of the Web3 community. So they asked to us that what is the criteria, yes, for being part of EnjinStarter or to have a partnership with EnjinStarter?
Sure. So we typically at this point in time look for projects that minimally have some kind of a proof of concept. If they have an existing community, I think that is another criteria that we kind of look for. And we also look at ways that they're actually going to be bringing their product through the partners and different stakeholders that they're working on. And if they have a solid strategy towards community acquisition, I think definitely that's a key area that we kind of look for. And then, of course, seasonally, we look for different narratives based on what a community is looking for, and that becomes a key aspect of the what we look for. During some down markets, we tend to look for projects that are infrastructure based, so that that's something that would be able to kind of build through any of the hype cycles and come out successful when the bull market arrives. So yeah, I guess to answer your question, a strong team, a working product, and a long-term vision towards building in the Web3 space is primarily what we look for.
I wanted to ask. This is a question from me directly, because I was thinking that you talk about the commitment or the interest that EnjinStarter has towards projects like has to offer something related to help the real world, and you highlighted that about us. What's the project or what's the idea of EnjinStarter as a launchpad to work on that, regardless of the projects that comes to your lab, and keep related to help the environment or help the real world in some way using these technologies.
Right.
Aside from depending on projects or promoting projects that are actually into it, I would like to know what EnjinStarter plans to do, or how EnjinStarter promotes that and tries to attract and advise projects to go down that line.
Sure. So we feel when projects actually have a real world application, it makes it a very emotional connection with the community. They feel that they can come as a pack and they can come together to kind of solve some of these real world problems, right? Because I think at this point of time, climate change, it's a big problem that affects us. It puts a lot of people into depression, and they keep hearing all these bad news, but there's nothing that they can do about it. And we feel that if we can now bring the community to spread the message, to also let them know that as a community, there's going to be a lot of things that we can do, that becomes a big win for us. And I think for us, the way that we also look at it is that climate action now can be a fun experience, right? What you guys are planning, where it's going to be a forest concert, where all of us, I mean, who doesn't like going for a festival, and who doesn't like having a good time? But now we can actually go for a good time, but also be connected to a certain cause, be part of this movement, and spread that message, right? And what you guys are doing is bringing music and bringing artists and musicians back to the core of what they are meant to do, where they have always had this role of being influencers, and they can influence a positive impact. But I think in recent years, a lot of musicians have, gotten into a very different narrative, where they just showing off their wealth in their music videos and in their social presence, but they're not really getting the community to actually do good with them. And I think this is where you guys are now bringing the influence of these artists with a cause that they can support to get their fans to come together to be a force of change. And I think this is where it's going to become a very powerful energy that you guys are going to bring into the space.
Well, that's you describe it perfectly. So I won't add anything for that because you talk like you were part of Xave World itself. So to that, I'll jump and add something, Johnny. Is that you talked about from the artist perspective, and that's exactly what we aim to, because we have a background of the musical industry. We know the struggles, and we are in the third big struggle. First was the majors, that was the platforms, and now the upcoming artists are always trying to overcome, trying to have their own place or winning their own place around the noise, and all they want is to have the platform to show their art, and the fans will come and the people will come. We want to provide that in perpetuity and adapt as an ever-changing landscape as these new technologies are. The music and entertainment industry is an ever-changing landscape as well. So, but to add to that, I want to add from the user perspective, and this is something that I talked about for the last couple of weeks with quite a lot of people, and a friend of mine actually summarized that of what we are doing from the user experience and what change we can make, and it blew my mind. I didn't even share that with my partners. This is something that came up the last few days, and I bring something to my head from the user perspective. Xave World is a metaverse, but at the same time, it's a game-like experience. It's a video game-like experience, and usually, especially when the gaming experience started to grow and became so connected to reality, to a point that you cannot distinguish reality from a game, it became an escape, especially from young people living alive in the virtual world, because the real world, it's something that pushed them apart every day. So a game-like experience became an escape, and especially from young people. So these kind of things, this kind of the forest of these kind of things will bring the opportunity to young people not to use a metaverse or a game-like experience as a way to escape, but a way to find their way in the real world by feeling participant of something that is actually important. And usually young people is discarded like they are not into what's happening in the world. No, they are kind of surrender, like feeling powerless. But when some movement comes around, and we can use climate change as one of the main examples right now, when you see around the world people being enlightened about this and trying to convince people that this is a real problem, and this is a problem that will hit me as someone young, because I will have to go through this for the next 20 years. Please leave me a world that I can live and breathe. And when you see the movements, you see a lot of young people. It's the same young people that is attracted to these new technologies and a game-like experience. So I feel, in a way, we feel obligated to create not only an amazing game-like experience, to have fun, of course, and to enjoy amazing live shows and concerts and all what we are proposing, but at the same time, giving the tools to users and to people to use the metaverse for something else, become a protagonist of something that could and will impact in the real world.
Amazing.
That hit me very hard, because I was losing the idea, or leaving behind the idea that I felt it when I was younger, through my adolescence, which was gone pretty much 2 decades ago. But being the video games being an escape, a way of
Mhm.
escaping from a hard day of work, escaping from the harsh reality of the world. And when you start to become an adult, the world is a very harsh place to start things off. It's not
Agreed.
welcoming for someone in its 20s. Um, we want to become something that, instead of becoming a place where you hide and live your life online, do it, but use it to enjoy yourself at the same time, to make the world a better place. So when you come out of your house, you also enjoy the world that you help to
Mhm.
create. uh, I think that's a very powerful mission. And partnership like this, we're talking about a metaverse and a launchpad. It doesn't matter. Any kind of
Yeah.
partnership, whatever the kickoff of the partnership is, if we relate to this vision, uh, that's a fundamental part of a partnership in any possible way. So that's what we are very happy to work with Engine, and know that we are going to work in the future with Engine and everything that XaveWorld is going to promote towards the future. I wanted to add that because Prakash uh, describe the vision towards the artist perfectly. Like he was part of the Xave World already. So I wanted to add that to his
No,
answer.
I think the way that you articulated that was beautiful, right? This is what we look for, where it's not about just raising capital, it's not just about doing a land grab, but it's about creating a place that people can feel a part of. And this is where you're building an empire, right? You're really building a place not just for yourself, but for the community. We're really, really excited when we hear that.
We are entrepreneurs. All the community are entrepreneurs. So, first of all, I want to ask you to an advice. Yes, an advice for all the entrepreneurs that are seeing this live, and for all that they know that they have fear, and they need that push to explain to the world they idea.
Sure. I think where we are living today, when the world is such a dark place, when there are constantly crises surrounding us, not just in the Web3 space, but also in the traditional equity space, in the political arena, this is the best time to actually start a business, right? When there's great uncertainty, when there is a global recession that's coming our way, as an entrepreneur, we need to figure out, some solutions for some of the problems the world is experiencing, and this is where a great amount of entrepreneurial ideas will be born, and this is where wealth can be created. But again, the best advice I can give is look to solve problems, and don't look to make money. The money will follow you as long as you're constantly solving problems. And I think that's one key thing that I always remind young entrepreneurs, because once you get into the pursuit or the chase for money, it never happens, right? Money works in a very different way. If we are doing good, we're making people happy, the founders are happy themselves, they naturally attract a whole lot of people, and people come, they stay, they have a good time, they spend, and the business becomes a success. And I think that's the way. Time when there's so much darkness that surrounds our industry, young founders should kind of zone out, forget about the noise, and look at the value that they can play. Just like how Matthias had connected the dots in his sphere of influence, that's how you need to do it. Just kind of forget about all the noise, just kind of bring together two or three concepts, bring it to the market, let the community decide whether that's something that they need. And once that justification comes in, then the entire world becomes your oyster.
Um, uh, Download everything that crosses your mind, your idea. Don't think for a second that your idea doesn't work. Don't try to find ideas that fit what's the trend of follow what you want to do. It's way more likely that you will succeed pushing something that you actually want to do, because it's something that you're going to be pushing towards the end of it. You will do the entire journey. And then the second advice is start surrounding yourself with people that is smarter than you. I always say the same. There is a saying, of course, it's not mine. If you are the smartest guy in the room, that's a problem. If you are the dumbest, you are going through the same. You're going through the way, the good way and the good path. Surround yourself slowly with people that is better than you, that knows more about other things than you, and can actually help out. And plus to that, and if someone here that is watching watch our previous Binance Live with other partners and is watching this right now, they will see a full connection. That is how we relate with our partners, what kind of chat we have with them, because it's not that, okay, we find this interesting because in the projection you are going to make money, so we're going to support. That's good and fundamental. But there is another piece, that is the connection that will allow you to work with the same people in the long term, because we believe in the same things. Find people that believe in your project and believe in your long-term vision, and work on that long version of your project. And on a final note, as I always say, and the tattoo that it's going to be, I'm going to make in my body, but it's yet to be done. But it's my motto, and it will always be my motto. Don't wait for the hard times to end to be happy, because they will never end. This is a hard journey. It's a hard journey filled with blood and time, and we will leave a lot of things aside from a professional and from a personal perspective. But it's worth it, because you're doing, if you follow my first advice, you're following what you believe to do. So the journey will be worthy, and enjoy the journey, because it's all you have. Enjoy the journey. If you follow those things, success is a very, it's a weird concept to define. What is success? If you're happy what you're doing, and regardless of your roadmap, if you accomplish that in 2, 5, 10 years, it doesn't matter. Follow that path, go step by step, and enjoy the journey.
Thanks, Mati. Thanks, Mati, for that word. Thanks, Prakash, for the word. Thanks, people, to join to our Binance Live meeting today. Well, that was very interesting. Thanks for all to attending our Binance Live. We hope to enjoy the discussion and learn something new about the topic. Yes. If you want to keep updates with the latest news of the projects, please follow us the social networks. So, Prakash, you want to say your social network?
Yeah, so you can find us on all social networks or as EnjinStarter. We're most active on Telegram, on Twitter. Come and join us, be a part of that network. And if you know projects that are looking at raising capital or getting some support to launch their project, or if you're an aspiring entrepreneur, feel free to reach out to me on Twitter, on LinkedIn, and I'll be happy to share to the best of my ability on what we could do to help your project become a success.
The same from us. Every social media, we are very active as well in LinkedIn from the institutional side, and we are very active on Instagram and Twitter as well, being a very visual project. And of course, we have both in Spanish and English, Telegram and Discord. We work a lot with the community. We propose a lot of things to the community, and we welcome everyone to be part of the community, to bring ideas, to bring your enthusiasm, and to be part of our community, because it's an ever-changing project, and every day we have something new. So at Xave World, in every platform. You will find us there. And again, in Telegram, both Spanish and English, Discord, you can reach us directly. Any question you might have, all the founders, all the team is there engaging with the community. We are not on a higher ladder. We are there around, asking questions and answering questions and asking what the community wants and proposing games. We are always engaging. So at Xave World, in every platform, you will find us there. And of course, follow Engine.
Mati,
I do. So follow Engine, especially on Telegram. That it blows up every day. And on Twitter as well, they have a lot of beautiful graphics. And by the way, I love the promotion of the International Women's Day. How Engine
Awesome.
spin that, individualizing every woman that is part of the team. So follow Engine as well. They're very active on the platforms, and you will find us connected as well.
Awesome.
thanks.
Matty, I've got a question for you. Could you share more insights on what's happening from a Latin America perspective? We hear the Latin America market is very, very hot from a Web3 perspective. But what exactly are the youth in the Latin America looking for? Are they looking for entertainment? Are they looking for education? Or are they looking for participation? Because, definitely at some point we want to bridge more of our projects into Latin America. So I'm very, very keen on learning that from you guys before we end this chat.
Well, I can give you two different lines. One from a Latin American perspective and one from Argentinian perspective. From a Latin American perspective, yes, Latin American is very active in the crypto world and the Web3 world. There is a very key reason why we started as a region to keep interested in the crypto world and the Web3 world. The economies of the countries that are part of Latin America play a huge role into these kind of alternatives. And at the same time, Latin America has been always active in new technologies. It doesn't show up as much if you are not into it. But if, for example, in gaming experience, Argentina has always been big. Brazil has always been big. So that from the Latin American perspective, it's a combination of gaming experiences or entertainment experiences, especially related to music, for example. This is a huge, between Brazil, Argentina, Chile, Central America. The Spanish countries are very passionate about things. And when they get involved and they get some enthusiasm about something, they go full in. And from the Argentinian side, all the description that I gave from the regional point of view applies to Argentina as well. But Argentina is extremely, and I cannot point that more out, extremely strong in development, in young people following careers in terms of developing 3D modeling, graphics, gaming development. And here is one of the professions that has full job possibilities. Even if you are a junior recently coming out of school, coming out of college, or even in college, you will have job. And companies are trying to grasp diverse talents. And there are companies from all over the world trying to get Argentinian talent in terms of front, back-end development, gaming development, design. My background is from traditional media, audiovisual production, and that's not much defended here in the industry, in the local industry. But when you go, I've been in Cuba, I've been in Mexico, I've been in China, I've been around, and Argentinians in both entertainment, like in game-like experience or in traditional media experiences, are highly noted and highly recommended. So when the new technologies approach, from these two reasons, Latin America has a potential participation that is noticed around the world. Those are the two main reasons,
Amazing.
especially in this industry.
Amazing. Thanks for sharing, bro. I picked up a
No,
lot
of
from
course.
that.
People, like we're on time. Well, friends, thank you very much for participating today. Follow Aperitivo Financiero on the networks. Follow Aperitivo Financiero on Binance Feed. Thanks Binance Live for this space. Thanks Prakash. Thanks Mati. Another time. And follow us on Binance Live. And see you next time, people.